know thou great wrong that through the slow-paced years this whole thy millions fettered and is willed. It scares it rail the labor to the field and turn a stony gaze on human tears. Thy cruel reign is o'er, thy bondmen crouch no more in terror at the menace of thine eye, for he who marks the bounds of guilty power, long-suffering, hath heard the captives cry and touched his shackles at the appointed hour. And lo, they fall, and he whose limbs they gove stands in his native manhood dissolute. A shout of joy from the redeemed is sent. 10,000 hamlets swell the hymn of thanks. Our rivers roll exulting and their banks send up hosannas to the firmament. Fields where the bondmen toil no more shall trench the soil. Seem now to vast in a serener day. The meadow bird sings sweet and the airs of heaven with more caressing softness play, welcoming man to liberty like theirs. Of glory clothes the land from sea to sea, for the great land and all its coasts are free. Within that land bred thou enthroned of late, and they by whom the nation's laws were made, and they who filled its judgment seats obeyed. Thy mandate did as the will of fate. Fierce men and of thy right hand, with gesture of command, gave forth the word that none might dare gainsay, and grave and reverend ones who love thee not shrank from thy presence and in blank dismay choked down unuttered this thought, while meaner cowards mingling with thy train proved from the book of God thy right to reign. Great as thou wert and feared from shore to shore, the wrath of Header took thee in thy pride. Thou sitst a ghastly shadow by thy side, thy once strong arms hang nerveless evermore, and they who quailed but now before thy lowering brow devote thy memory to scorn and shame, and scoff at the pale powerless thing thou art. And they who ruled in thine imperial name, subdued and standing sullenly apart, scowl at the hands that overthrew thy reign, and shattered at a blow the prisoner's chain. Where was thy doom? Deserve thou didst not spare life's tenderest ties, but cruelly didst part husband and wife, and from the mother's heart didst wrest her children deaf to shriek and prayer. Thy inner lair became the haunt of guilty shame. Thy last drop blood, the murderer at thy side, showed his red hands nor feared the vengeance due. Thou didst sod with crimes and fawn alive, and harvest of uncounted miseries grew, until the